This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
We know the story.
It is familiar to us.
We know it like we know our bodies.
And we feel the pain, the panic, the grief, the joy, the excitement, the shifting of the land beneath our feet.
The world is changing. The world is breaking open.
And this time, we are wondering how much will change.
How can we make this world anew?
How can we unite our hopes and dreams and visions of a new world and make it a reality where all of God's children have love, equal access to needed resources, and freedom?
Maybe if we can imagine and remember together that ancient story told in a new way.
As we face a global pandemic, we can make our way towards some answers together.
When we were first ordered to shelter in place, we had many questions.
Many of us reached out to one another for virtual gatherings to sing, pray, meet, and do business.
Things began to slow down, and the only things we could do involved gathering with our closest beloveds, going out into nature, making food, and learning to play together again.
We were alone, and yet we began to see that, in fact, we are all connected.
Each move that any one of us makes has an impact upon another.
Each prayer any of us makes has an impact on each other.
Each song any one of us sings has an impact upon one another.
As the days passed in seclusion, we began to ponder, to notice, to wonder.
What will become of us?
What will become of our country?
What will become of this world?
What will become of our faith communities?
And we began to ponder the ways we have betrayed one another and the land.
We began to grow more aware of the stolen property on which we live.
And the forced and enslaved labor that have grown us great profit.
We began to see the betrayal within us and within our own communities.
And we broke bread together night after night after night.
Hoping and praying for a new end to that ancient story.
For a new way of being outside of betrayal and pain.
For a new way of being together that is shared and playful, open and free.
Take this bread, we said.
Take this cup, we said.
Eat and drink and remember.
Remember the community, remember the betrayal, remember the hope, remember the possibility of a new body.
And in this slowed down time, we began to be curious.
Who is the greatest?
Who are our leaders?
Where is our help?
And we began to see the nurses and doctors, the EMTs and respiratory therapists, the CNAs and all healthcare staff.
Truly, those who serve among us are the greatest.
And we too can serve through sending from our abundance and letting go of our stockpiles.
Yet and still, we hear stories of those who deny the reality of what we were experiencing.
Some who are not willing to face the reality of the brokenness of the world and brokenness in our bodies.
Some who, while the world was breaking open, sought to further deny access to justice and services for women, queer and transgender people, incarcerated people, immigrants, elders, people of color, people of Asian heritage, indigenous and native people, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, and Sikhs.
Our hearts continue to break, and yet we hold out hope.
We set out to pray, watch, and wait.
With the best intentions, we keep vigil and remain aware.
But we grow exhausted and fall asleep, dreaming of something better, avoiding what is right in front of us.
And while we sleep, the queer person calls out,
Remove this pain from me.
And while we sleep, the child calls out,
Remove this pain from me.
And while we sleep, the immigrant and the refugee call out,
Remove this pain from me.
And while we sleep, the woman and the transgender person and the black man and the Chinese American and the Jewish father, the Muslim sisters, and the indigenous tribes call out,
Remove this pain from us.
We awake, guilty we dozed, and recommit ourselves to gathering and praying and organizing and standing in the ways of injustice.
And then we watch as the kisses from our betrayers happen over and over and over again.
we want to believe it isn't happening again.
We want to separate ourselves from the pain and the trauma.
we want to blame someone or something else each and every time.
But we see that every kiss seals a new and painful ending.
before the dawn, the deed is done.
It is finished.
we are finished.
We are the sons and daughters, the offspring of our God.
And so are those who's one who cry out,
Each and every one of them.
But there is no way out, no way back.
Out of our fear, we call for lynchings, internments, incarcerations, executions, deportations, hate crimes.
We watch them happen over and over and over and over again.
And we feel helpless and hopeless. We were immobile and complacent. We wring our hands.
We watch on the news and on social media and in the papers as Black and brown bodies, gay and transgender bodies, immigrant and indigenous bodies, Asian and Pacific Islander bodies, Muslim and Jewish, Hindu and Sikh bodies are crucified over and over and over again.
And we call out and march and organize and petition and run for office and look for help from a system that simply needs to be dismantled.
We awake again and find ourselves in a pandemic.
we begin to realize yet again that our lives are interconnected and that our privilege and societal position mean nothing when it comes to a virus.
And then, once again, the women come.
The healers come.
The midwives come.
The ones with ointments and tinctures, soothing balms, and melodious songs.
And as they come to minister, they are shocked to see that what we all believed had happened,
What we all imagined was our tragic end,
was, in fact, a new beginning.
And as the women began to shout and dance and sing us into a new way of being,
a jubilant cheer welled up from within our souls.
We are risen.
All of creation is risen.
And this time of pandemic, is our moment to notice what has died and what is being resurrected.
What is breaking through?
How? When we move together.
When we stay close and connected to our community and to our God.
That even when we make mistake after mistake after mistake,
We can be healed.
we can be resurrected.
We can be made whole.
So may it be for you.
And you.
And you.
And you.
And you.
And you.
and me.
And me.
And me.
And me.
Lisa Sharon Harper, Washington, D.C.
Lauren Ing, Novato, California.
Michael Templeton, Cranston, Rhode Island.
Joy Bronson, Nashville, Tennessee.
Ben Swihart, Chicago, Illinois.
Elena Ramsey, Columbus, Ohio.
Myra Kynes, Boston, Massachusetts.
Susan Chorley, Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts.
Michael Ray Matthews, San Jose, California.
Curtis Price, Salt Lake City, Utah.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.